massive and delicious. Yeah, couldn't quite finish it.
So good.
So that was
good.
That was fun. But yeah, now I want to go back.
We were still full from the ramen.
Oh, you had ramen.
Yeah, we had ramen right before we left, so we didn't really save much space for Del Taco.
All right.
Unfortunate. Very unfortunate.
Hey, everyone, and welcome to Awesome Hardware, our weekly live show every Tuesday evening, 5:30 p.m. Pacific Time. Kyle and I get together. We talk about technology. We have a few beers. The content does get a little bit more bawdy at times, I'll say. Perhaps a bit raucous.
Body.
So if you were younger, then maybe you should take a hike and go elsewhere. It's not to say there's going to be any nudity or anything like that, but...
You should smoke weed instead, because there's no age limit on that.
Yeah, so Kyle's already diving right into the debauchery. So we're drinking some beers. Right now we're finishing up this beer, which is a Trois Pistoles. Right there.
It's very good.
My sister actually got this for me as part of my Christmas gift.
Nice.
And it was delicious.
The best gift.
Anyway, we just finished up with the first half of this week's episode, which is episode number 91. First episode of 2017. So if you missed it, there should be a link in the description for Kyle's half, which is side A, over on Bitwit. This is my half on side B on Paul's Hardware. Much obliged to all you guys for being with us. If you're watching live or if you're watching in the future, I hope the world has not ended.
Forsaken you.
Yes.
In any way.
Cheers. Yeah, I know you just had a drink. I'm going to make you drink again.
Cheers.
Cheers.
That's a small drink.
A bit more of a sip. All right. Before we get into the meat of today's episode, a quick plug for our respective stores. Mine is at paulshardware.net, where you can buy shirts with my logo on it. You can also buy organic cotton beanies and zip-up hoodies, as well as some mugs and pint glasses, so check that stuff out. It's all high-quality gear, and if you buy stuff during the show, we'll give you a little shout-out. Kyle's store is over at bitwit.tech/store. And he is having a sale on hoodies right now, $10 off.
$10 off.
It's a screaming deal. And these are once these are gone, they're gone.
They're gone.
You'll have a limited edition,
not restocking
that
these.
only like some other people in the world have.
That's true.
Which makes it more valuable.
It's very exclusive.
Yeah. And again, at the end of the show, we'll kind of take a look at orders that might have come through during the show and give you guys a little shout out. Anyway, we talk about technology, so let's do that. I feel like I'm being way more efficient than your half of the show was, by the way.
You are. Which is not saying much,
I know.
By the way.
Which means my half of the show is going to be shorter, but that's fine.
That's good, I'm glad.
Because I am hungry.
Me too.
I'm already hungry.
Good Lord.
All right, the pictures aren't loading for this, which kind of makes it less visual. Hold on, let me see if I can refresh and get... There it goes. All right. Story number one here is from CES. Kyle and I were both at CES 2017 this past week. Both of us have a bunch of videos on our channels, so check them out if you haven't already. I have like 5 more still. Do you have still some more, right?
I have 3.
3 more?
Tres más.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna post like 2 or 3 tomorrow and the next day, and then I'll be done.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we saw this at Razer. It's Project Valerie, which is their 4K display monitor prototype that they had on display there. They had this version that was out on the main floor that was had kind of a nicer finish on it, and they had another version that was in the back room that was not quite as pretty looking when it comes to like the finish, but it was more functional, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. I get the feeling that the one that was out on the show floor was just like playing a looped video or something,
right.
Whereas the one in the back you could actually sit and play like Battlefield on or something like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, they had two of their prototypes stolen. Now, what's not 100% clear to me is what exactly was stolen, because I know they had at least 2 prototypes on display there. There was this Project Valerie, which got a lot of FaceTime because it was like everyone was like, "Oh my gosh, look at that triple 4K display thing." And then there was also a projector that they had.
Oh yeah.
Did you see that? It was off to the side.
Yeah.
Which I didn't really get the rundown.
That would have been cool.
So I'm not sure. I get the feeling it was both of the laptop prototypes that were stolen.
Yeah, I think they confirmed it.
I know they confirmed it was at least one of them, but I know it was 2 products that were stolen. Did they confirm it was these? It was both.
I'm not sure about
laptops. It would make sense because the screens that are on the side they slide in, right? They slide in and then it folds down. And these are, they weren't showing the actual functional mechanism of the screens, like
Sliding
expanding
in,
and
yeah.
contracting or whatever, because I have a feeling that was not ready. But I'm pretty sure that they could sort of manually, collapse the thing down and put the screens in and then close it up.
Right.
In which case, it would be a very portable package. It's only about 12 pounds.
Right.
For somebody to just, grab and abscond with.
But the crazy thing is, it got stolen the last day of CES, I would think.
Yeah, it was on Sunday, and I believe it was while they were striking the booth.
Striking it? Oh, just keeping anyone from going
No,
there?
like breaking it down.
Oh, breaking
or closing up.
That's so crazy.
But
That's so crazy. I would love to see how the person who stole this got away with it. Because even if I were to try to steal it, I wouldn't know how to retract the monitor, the screens.
So I have two theories about this, because it's been kind of all over the tech world news the past day and a half. And my two theories are that one, it's an inside job, either by somebody with some association with somebody at Razer or somebody in the industry, or perhaps a very targeted thing by a rival. You never really know. This isn't the first time this has happened. Razer had a concept prototype in 2011 stolen from their San Francisco Bay research and development labs, and they made off with two prototypes of their Razer Blade back when they were developing that. So this happened to Razer before. So yeah, I think it's either something that was set up, targeted, very specific, or it was a crime of opportunity. Mm-hmm. Whereas they have these laptops, it's a big hubbub going on at the end of the day. It's final day of CES. They're starting to break things down. Stuff's just getting set here and there, and one or two of these are set there. And if somebody walks by it and no one's around, then they just happen to be no one, it's just one of those things. No one's here, no one's looking right now, and I know what that is and how much it's worth. Zoink,
yeah,
and make off with it. So, anyway, point is, it sucks because that's a shitty thing to do. People shouldn't steal stuff.
But it's what do you even do with that once you have it? What do you do with it?
That's why I think it's probably more likely that it was something that's more targeted, something within the industry, a different company or some, that industrial espionage type thing.
Sure.
Just to look at the mechanisms they're using or how they've set it up or configured it or whatever. Razer is offering a $25,000 reward right now for information leading to the. Now they have a very specific rundown of what you have to do to get that $25K, and it can potentially be split up, or they might give less depending on what information you provide. So if you walk up, here's the laptop and the guy who stole it,
they're not gonna give you $25K.
No, they probably would give you the $25K.
Oh, yeah. Whereas you're saying if you were the guy.
Whereas if you're he's from Florida, and you have to be
$25K.
It happens to be Florida, he'd probably give you $5 or something.
Sure.
Depending on how specific the information is.
The dollars would be RGB.
But there it is. I feel unfortunately they probably won't find it.
No one's gonna come clean.
Because again, I think there's more likelihood that this is something by a competitor or something like that, and if they pulled it off, then it's not coming back.
It's gone. It's a done deal.
It shows up in an alley somewhere with both of the side.
It's all stripped.
Both of the side screens are gone.
Like a stripped car.
Just the frame there. Yeah. So what else? It's up on blocks. For no reason, just put it up on cinder blocks. Cause
it's in the middle of a dark alley.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway,
that's great.
We'll have to get pictures of that when it happens.
All the keycaps are gone from the keyboard.
Here's information that you probably didn't hear on Kyle's half of the show, and he probably didn't realize I was talking about my half of the show too.
Oh, you were talking about this?
It's fine.
Why didn't you say anything?
If you guys didn't already, because it's cool.
Okay.
I wasn't.
I was setting you up. It's like an alley-oop.
I wasn't
worried.
Right, yeah.
You get to
the 1080 Ti, which many people have been anticipating, which quite a few people thought oh, maybe Nvidia's going to launch this at CES. I was never one of those people. I didn't think that was going to happen, simply because in my experience, Nvidia likes to launch products when they will have less additional background noise going on, and CES has lots of products launching. So my feeling was that they were going to delay it and perhaps launch it later. Now this article in specific is saying They're talking about PAX East, which Kyle already mentioned, which is in March, only about 2 months away.
It's crazy.
Actually, exactly 2 months, March 10th and 12th, or between March 10th and 12th in Boston, of course, PAX East.
Yep.
I miss PAX East. I went there a few times.
Me too. That was a fun event. We should go there again.
Not in March, though. We're going to Vegas.
Oh, yeah. You're right.
Anyway.
That's... I was going to say that's for another video, but no, it's not. It's not even for another video.
No videos.
You will never know. You'll never know what we're talking about right now.
But yeah, my thought actually, like, so this says PAX East, and that's cool. That's earlier. That's March.
Yeah.
That's 2 months. My thought was going to be GTC, GeForce Technology Conference, which happens every year. This year it's in May 8th to 11th. So if it doesn't happen at PAX East,
GTC.
Probably GTC is what you're going to be looking at.
Right.
But if they want to get something out earlier, and in particular if they're looking at something to sort of throw some shade or some smoke when when AMD is launching Vega.
Right.
Vega's not due by...
June.
Hold on.
June.
Well, maybe we have more information on that.
Oh, do we?
Who knows?
Oh, do we now?
Yes. So next up is going to be a segment that I don't have lower thirds for, so let's use this one. Let's use Oh Joy. Oh Joy. This next bit is all going to be about AMD stuff. Yay, AMD. Because AMD has been fun to talk about, and if you didn't hear, there was some information that they let free during CES, and depending on how jaded you are, it's either awesome, useful information or not much. But we'll let you guys figure this out.
Do it.
First, I'm going to have a drink of water.
Do it.
Oh, it's delicious. Okay. So first off, here's a PC Gamer article by Jared Walton. This is AMD Vega, everything you need to know about the next GPU architecture, because there is some more information, again, that AMD did come up with. For example, look, there's Raja with one. Look at that, he's holding it in his hand. Anyway, Vega, at least the Vega chip that they're talking about, is likely to be a 4096 core GPU, clocked at around 1.5 to 1.6 gigahertz. The memory system is going to be HBM2 memory and will include 8 gigabytes and possibly 16 gigabytes of HBM2 memory in 2 stacks.
Damn!
You can actually see the 2 stacks
16 gigs
on the chip right here. And quite a few people have pointed out that since there's 2 stacks right there ain't no room for any more stacks. So...
Stacked, bruh.
The question is it going to ship with 8 gigs or 16 gigs? 16 gig HBM2 memory is very expensive right now.
Yeah, that's ludicrous.
So
I'm not going to do that.
It's not sure. Maybe it'll ship with 8 gigs. But maybe what else AMD is talking about has something to do with how they're explaining this.
12 gigs?
And how so you know how the Fiji came out and it had 4 gigs of HBM memory.
Sure.
And it was like, well, it's only 4 gigs. But it's really fast. It has a lot of bandwidth, so it could outperform, a competing 4 gig memory stack of like GDDR5 or something like that.
Right.
But
so still,
bearing that in mind, 8 gigs would seem like not enough.
Yeah.
That's for sure. But they are now also sort of rebranding this, and this all was information that was sort of released during Computex. I'm sorry, during CES.
Cache.
So they're rebranding like the memory as high bandwidth cache, and they're trying to blur the lines between what the GPU has access to by default, like you would typically understand. Like, here's the GPU in the middle. Like, you look like a GPU at GDDR5. You can see here's the GPU, here's all the memory stacks that it's connected to, and each of those adds up to how much memory it has.
Mm-hmm.
What AMD is trying to say is like, well, you have this HBM memory, it's acting as a cache, but you actually have a much wider pool of addressable memory that might include system memory or storage or that kind of thing. And they're trying to kind of blur the line between what's what. And they're trying to use the machine intelligence that's built into, well, it's something akin to what's built into the Ryzen chips. So it knows what to put on there and what not to put on there, so that even though you might only have 8 gigs of HBM2 memory, it functions as 128 gigs, or up to 512 terabytes of actual addressable space. Although, of course, that's going to vary depending on the type of project that you're working with. So, like you remember that 200 gigabyte project that they were showing that was being rendered in real time.
Yeah. Right.
So yeah, what they're talking about is
GPUs.
Working with very, very large data sets that the GPU can access without necessarily having to have that all with memory stacks that are sitting right next to it. They might be buffered by the HBM memory, and then the actual memory might sit somewhere else, like as in with those cards. They have like M.2 slots where you can add additional SSD storage that acts as memory or something like that. So they have high bandwidth cache. There's also a high bandwidth cache controller, and day is night, up is down, and black is white, and everything like that.
Left is right.
Left is yes, and no is Tuesday.
Maybe. Cheeseburger.
Anyway, there's additional technologies that they released some additional specs on, which I can't explain to you guys right now because it's really like the drawstream binning rasterizer, right?
Oh yeah. I know that.
I love when it has a simple explanation. Designed to improve performance and save power. That's just like every upgrade to every processor ever.
You don't say.
Yeah. Anyway, so there are articles on this, and the PC Gamer one here is actually not terribly in depth, but Jared does a good job, I think, of going through here and kind of giving you a good idea of what's what. So check that out if you want to. In the meantime, we're going to move on to the next one, which is from PC Perspective via videocards.com. So PC Perspective here is just sort of parroting over a videocards.com article where they have some leaked information about Vega 10 and Vega 20. So Vega information that AMD has shared is still fairly limited, even though they keep giving like little tidbits here and there. There's still a lot of stuff that remains to be seen. So there's some slides that VideoCards seems to have gotten a hold of that they leaked on their website. And PC Perspective, of course, reported on them as well. So the slides suggest that Vega 10 is the first GPU to be based on the new architecture, might be available by the end of the first half of 2017.
Ooh.
Did you catch that? End of the
2017.
first half of 2017.
Wow.
When would that be?
That would be like June.
That's June.
Yep.
So that's kind of cool. I think rumors we were hearing were pointing towards potentially later in the year. So that's maybe even a little bit earlier. That would, to me...
Came early.
To me, that would mean Computex.
Yeah.
Because that would be when this type of thing would launch.
Right.
So that would be cool. A dual GPU Vega 10 product is also slated to release in Q3 or Q4 of 2017.
AMD's been keeping that up. The whole dual GPU thing. I haven't seen a dual GPU from NVIDIA in a long ass time.
Yeah.
But we had the R9 295X2 from NVIDIA not too long ago. I'm sorry, from AMD not too long ago. And it would be pretty sweet to see dual Vega 10s on a single PCB.
Yeah, so
That would kick ass.
here's the slide in particular that they're talking about. Yeah, so dual GPU in the second half of this year, possibly. Refreshed GPU based on a smaller process node with more HBM2 memory called Vega 20 in the second half of 2018. And then the slides also suggest that Navi, which is Vega's successor, might launch as soon as 2019 and will come in two variants called Navi 10 and Navi 11, with Navi 11 being the smaller and less powerful GPU. I wish AMD would stop doing this. They keep flip-flopping between Vega 10 and Vega 11. One's a higher number, but it's bigger, and then or it's a smaller number, but it's still bigger with Polaris and Navi. Stop switching that. Stop it.
Yeah, I don't like it.
Confusing.
It's either golf or basketball
Yes.
in terms of how the numbers operate.
Yeah, one way or the other.
Come on, pick one.
Anyway, Vega 10 is 14 nanometer. It allegedly offers up to 64 NCUs, which is next-gen compute units, is what they're calling that. It used to just be called compute units, and they're like, wait, no, that's not cool enough. Next-gen.
Next-gen.
It does sound newer, I guess. Excuse me. Anyway, up to 64 NCUs, though, and as much as 12 teraflops of single precision and 750 gigaflops of double precision compute performance. All stuff that we kind of started getting hints at when they started talking about the SenseMI stuff that they came out with last month.
Right.
Blah blah blah. I'm missing. Anyway, Vega 10 is supposedly has a TDP of up to 225 watts, and will be paired with 2 stacks of HBM2 memory, like we just said, on a package that will offer, again, either 16 gigs or 8 gigs with memory bandwidth of 512 gigabytes per second, which is pretty impressive. There's a Vega 10 X2 also listed in the second half of the year, which is presumably a dual GPU product. Second half of 2018. The leak slide suggests that Vega 20 GPU will be released on a 7nm process node with 64 compute units and paired with 4 stacks of HBM2 for 16 gigabytes or 32 gigabytes of memory with 1 terabyte per second of bandwidth.
Damn!
Those are all some pretty impressive specs and numbers and stuff there.
Damn, son.
Where is this presentation? I certainly wasn't involved.
Yeah. Neither.
That's cool though. That's all cool information. Of course, assuming it is true. You never know. Maybe somebody at videocards.com just made these slides
Those
themselves.
look pretty legit. They look like pretty legit slides, though, to me.
No, it's all fake.
It's all fake.
It's all fake.
Yeah, you're probably right.
All right, so there's your Vega information, which is I think it's all pretty cool information. End of first half for Vega. That's cool. Yeah.
And in first half,
Vega 10, I guess.
Right.
That was what it would be.
We'll see how it stacks up against the 1080.
The 1080 Ti.
Past the 1080 Ti. I think it's going to be in a different class. I think it's going to be closer to the 1080 than it is to the 1080 Ti.
Yeah, well, I mean, speculation right now
still pretty awesome.
has it theoretically beating the 1080, but yeah.
Yeah, by a small margin.
All right, let's talk about Ryzen. There was some more information about that. Ryzen is, of course, AMD's 8-core 16-thread CPU. Engineering samples are out and about, and we have seen some of these running at CES. There were independent boutique vendors that had them. There were a few. I was we saw one at Deepcool, actually. That was a place where I was like, oh, there's an AMD motherboard. But it was one of the like really early engineering sample ones that was like green PCB and stuff. But
recoil in horror at the first sight of it.
More on the CPU mounting stuff in just a moment. But first, some CPU information. We were told by AMD early on, or at least I guess late last year, that the new Ryzen CPUs, which are based on which Ridge? Summit Ridge. The Summit Ridge Ryzen CPUs will run at minimum at 3.4 gigahertz, and then they wouldn't tell us what the boost clock was. The folks at Hardware Lux managed to get some quality alone time with one of the demonstrations at CES 2017. They brought up the Windows System page and Device Manager, and they confirmed that the Ryzen sample in use, even though it was an engineering sample, was set to 3.6 gigahertz base clock and a 3.9 gigahertz turbo boost. So faster than 3.4 gigahertz. And that would fall in line with what AMD has told us, in that the minimum spec for their 8-core Summit Ridge based parts is 8-core 16-thread and 3.4 gigahertz. Yeah. So it seems like, yes, they do have them running faster, which is cool. Yeah. It's an F3 stepping processor. I don't know. There's a few other details in this article, but that's the main gist of it. So that's cool. I also saw something about core counts being confirmed. I don't have an article on this specifically. Brad.
Hey, it's Brad.
There's Brad.
Sharkus.
There was also something about core counts being confirmed, but I think what was confirmed is that there will be a wide range of SKUs available when Ryzen launches, which again should be within the next 2 to 2.5 months. And that there will be the 8-core 16-thread, but there also might be potentially 6-core 12-thread and 4-core 8-thread up in there. I was wondering if there might be anything beyond 8 cores, but that doesn't seem to be the case.
10-core 20-thread.
Here is an article from PC World by our friend Brad Sharkus. The 7 all-new details revealed at CES 2017 about Ryzen.
Sharkus.
He has a little video here. You could watch that. Or you could watch Kyle's video. Or my video, which hasn't gone out yet. It's probably going to be out tomorrow. Yeah, so first off, an army of Ryzen hardware. There's a ton of OEMs that, like boutique system builders, who AMD's already working with to build system based on that. So they had a big old list of them, a big wall. It included motherboard front, of course, as far as support. Asus, ASRock, MSI, Gigabyte, Biostar. A lot of X370 chipsets, X300 motherboards as well. There's also A300 and B350. Different chipsets will determine whether or not you can overclock your processor, because all of the Ryzen processors will be overclockable.
Mm-hmm.
They've also confirmed that AM4 motherboards are going to have a very long lifespan. They relentlessly mocked the TikTok Intel thing, even though Intel's not doing TikTok anymore. They're doing TikTok and another thing. AMD CTO Mark Papermaster said, "We're not going TikTok. That's bullshit," he said. He didn't say that.
Quote
bullshit.
unquote.
I'm
that
reading between the
bullshit.
lines. But he said Zen is going to be talk.
Oh, shots fired.
Nothing but talks.
Got him.
Up in here.
Burn. Sick
Anyway,
burn.
AM4 is going to last until 2020, though. They're not going to be replacing this platform until basically PCIe Gen 4. Right? Yeah.
Oh, okay.
PCIe Gen 4 and DDR5.
Which is going to be 2020?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's when they're anticipating that.
Damn, so Gen 3 is around for a while.
Indeed. Here's a summary. Let's open image.
Can hardly saturate it as it is, so I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, there are some slides about the chipsets, so if you guys aren't familiar with those yet, you might want to start at least taking a glance at them if you're considering upgrading to this platform, because the chipset is going to have a very significant impact on what you can do with your processor. Overclocking is only going to be enabled on the X370 and B350 chipsets, so those will be in motherboards that cost a bit more. Those also give you a little bit more I/O capabilities, as well as support for dual PCIe slots. If you want SLI or Crossfire support, for example, you're going to need to get an X370 chipset. And yes, AMD has been able to get SLI certification via NVIDIA on X370. So even if you don't like the Vega GPUs, but you really like Ryzen, you can still get a 10 series GPU from NVIDIA or something and mash them up together. Have an unholy marriage like Romeo and Juliet or something. Anyway, X370 is the enthusiast. You're going to get USB 3.1 Gen 2. Actually, up to 8 of those. 2 Gen 2 ones, 6 Gen 1s, and 6 2.0s. 4 SATA, 2 SATA E, which that's E SATA, which can be reconfigured for just the PCIe lanes, thank God.
Why does anyone care about E SATA anymore?
That's why they said you can reconfigure it. Pardon me, and just get access to the PCIe lanes.
That's all I want. That's too much to ask.
You do get SATA RAID 0, 1, and 10, so that's similar to what you're provided as far as support on the Intel side. And then again, for overclocking X370 or B350 is where you want to go. A320, X300, and A or B300 are going to be more mainstream, so budget stuff where you're not going to be worrying about overclocking or that kind of thing. Probably also going to be a better matchup with the APUs that are going to be launching towards the end of the year. And then you also have small form factor options in X300 and A or B300. And my big question here is still standing out is when it comes to mini ITX support from AMD on this with this socket, are you going to be able to get a high-end X370 mini ITX board that has good power delivery and overclocking? Or are you going to have to rely on these budget chipsets that have overclocking disabled and that kind of thing?
For an APU?
Even for a CPU. You can fit an APU or a CPU or whatever in there. It's all the same socket.
Right.
In fact, all of the motherboards, that's the other funny thing, is all the motherboards that are being shown right now at CES and that kind of thing all have video outs. But the Ryzen CPUs at launching don't have video, won't have video, won't have like an iGPU.
iGPU, yeah.
So you won't even be able to use those video outs on these AM4 motherboards that are launching along with Ryzen until the APUs launch, which aren't supposed to be, I think, until the fourth quarter.
So I was slightly confused on what were you wondering about?
I'm wondering about mini ITX.
Okay.
Because I like small form factor builds.
Yeah.
And my question is, are you going to be able to build a full fat Ryzen mini ITX system with like the unlocked 8-core processor and decent enough power delivering on the motherboard to enable overclocking, or
is it going to be limited to the small form factor
based on power limitations or size or power requirements or anything like that. Will there only be small form factor options? Because they very specifically list the X300 and ARB300 chipsets as small form factor options.
It does say that the X300 chipset, though, is unlocked for overclocking.
It does? Yeah, it does. There. That's weird. All right, maybe I'm wrong.
Well, you're not wrong, but that kind of just answers your question. If it's unlocked, then you can still overclock on small form factor AM4
Brad
motherboards.
Brad's talking again.
Brad.
Okay.
Sharkus.
Because I was pretty sure they told me, but you're right. That says unlocked for overclocking. X300. All right, fine.
I don't see why they would omit that feature for just small form factor. I think.
Oh yeah, X300 enthusiast small form factor. All right, here you go. All right, see, this is why we double check these charts. It's why we have Kyle here to correct me when. All right, so yeah, it looks like X300 will also be unlocked for overclocking, so that's cool too. But no USB 3.1 Gen 2. Just pointing that out.
Fuck that shit.
It's lame.
Game over.
Anyway, all right. So there are lots of options, and there's been a teasing of motherboards so far. Some that were shown at CES, but again, Brad,
killing me, Smalls.
All right. Anyway, let's finish off this list here. So AM4 motherboards and longevity of them.
M4.
The Ryzen family, single 8-core 16-thread Ryzen chip has been shown so far. But they're not going to be limited to just that one. There's definitely going to be other ones. They've confirmed that.
Nice.
Here is a summary of the features on the platform. So, again, this is the AM4 platform. So this is segmenting the motherboards: enthusiast, mainstream, and essential. There's also talks. There's going to be 7th gen APUs that will launch. So actually, when I say there are video outs on the motherboards that won't work until you can get a Ryzen AP or a Zen APU, that's not 100% true, because it does sound like they're going to take current 7th gen APUs that currently work on like FM3. I think it's FM3, right? Yeah, FM3, and reconfigure them to work on AM4. So you will have a little bit of crossover there.
That's nice.
But yeah, Ryzen will be up to 8 core 16 threads, which does seem to mean that there will be lesser versions as well. Up to 4 plus 16 megabyte cache, PCIe, X16 Gen 3 of course. And then they have also confirmed 24 PCIe lanes, so that gives 16 total for graphics cards. So that gives you by 8 and by 8 for your
couple M.2s in there. What's going on, Hero?
No, a couple 8 by 8 for a couple graphics cards, and then 8 more lanes for connecting whatever else the motherboard manufacturer wants to connect up. Most likely like NVMe M.2 drives.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
Fun.
All right.
Exciting stuff.
Yeah, and I think I just closed the... Wait, what was the thing to do the window again? Shift Control T.
So handy, isn't it?
I like that, yeah. I use that all the time.
Handy.
Okay, just to finish off this list, though, overclocks everywhere. We already kind of mentioned that. All the CPUs will be overclocked. Damn it, Brad!
Dear God!
Damn it, Brad!
Oh my God! Worse than the Tweaktown article. No, nothing's worse than the Tweaktown article.
So yeah, everything will be overclockable, but your ability to overclock them will be determined by the chipset on your motherboard. Yeah, and he, of course, specifies support for overclocking is limited to AM4 motherboards with the high-end X370, X300 chipsets, or the mainstream B350. So he said it right here in the article. I was rushing. I was rushing before the show. Anyway, and then X370, again, is where you're going to get support for cross-file and SLI support.
Cross-file?
Cross-file.
Oh.
Cross-fire. I'm slurring my speech due to drinking.
Crossfire. Crossfire. You get caught
I haven't even started this one yet.
Crossfire.
I need your key opener thing. Thank you. Oh yeah, the last part here is about coolers, new CPU coolers and old CPU coolers. So yeah, just to clarify, the way the CPU cooling mount works with Ryzen.
How does it work?
It still has the two plastic pieces on top of the motherboard.
Oh yeah, I thought this was very interesting. Yeah.
That sit there and have two nubs on either side.
Nubs.
And allow you to connect up what would be a typical, like out of the box stock heatsink fan that you get with an AMD processor, which usually has you hook around the one side and then it's got the little latch, hooks around the other, and then you pop it over and it puts some pressure on it, and
with the stock coolers.
That's all you need. Stock coolers, yeah.
Sure.
So, when it comes to compatibility, you will be able to take an old stock cooler, or one of the ones that uses that existing two-sided mount with the plastic pieces on it. That will still work just fine.
Seesaw bracket.
Yeah, with the two brackets on either side of the socket. What won't work is any existing CPU cooler that requires a back plates, where you remove those plastic pieces entirely and go through the holes on the motherboard. Because what's been changed is the holes and the top and bottom of the CPU on the AMD socket are now just slightly wider.
Yeah.
They're a little bit further apart. What a great visual display I'm doing right here.
But I mean, how many more pins are there really in Ryzen than over AM3 Plus? Do you know?
It says here 1,331 pins.
I mean, from what though? AM3 Plus. Oh, about 100 more. Oh, okay, 100 more than
the AM3 Plus.
Yeah, then that does make sense. If it was like 12 pins more, then I'm like, yeah, did you really have to make it that much wider? But yeah, 100 pins, that does take up some space on the actual chip. So yeah, I thought that was like a nice, and that was like the most enlightening piece of information I found at the AMD booth, was like finally realizing why they actually changed the mounting solution. Because,
and honestly, coming this far, I would have been pissed to hear they were like, no, we really want to have backwards compatibility or something like that. I don't want to hear that at this point. It's been so long since they've updated their platform.
Yeah,
I'm fine if they throw everything out and just start again from scratch.
It's kind of also kind of lights a fire under the CPU cooler manufacturers' asses to make AM4 coolers that are new.
Yeah, well,
potentially.
It depends.
Or
it depends on the manufacturer.
They might just put out new brackets, of course.
There are some that have already stated, if you have an existing Noctua cooler, for example, like an NHD14 or D15,
right, you
can simply contact them and they will provide you a new bracket, often free of charge, and then you can take your existing cooler and install it on your new AM4 motherboard,
which is great. But I also am looking forward to some manufacturers that are going the other route. They're like, we're going to make a cooler specifically for AM4 that's like a new design, has a new fin stack or whatever. I think it just might be kind of cool to kind of like breathe new life into the CPU cooler market, because it seems like it can get a little bit stale. It's been getting a little bit stale in the CPU cooler market for quite some time. So, but I don't know. We'll see. I think it's also great, though, that, if you do have like a really expensive or a really nice Noctua cooler, that you can just get the bracket and use it for AM4 instead of having to buy a completely new cooler that you just spent, $80+ on.
I didn't know you were so dissatisfied with the progress of CPU coolers.
I'm not dissatisfied. I always like to see. I get bored easily. I'm like, like Corsair comes out with another AIO and it's like, it's the H100i GTX V2. It's exactly
another
the same.
Stripe. They put a
it's
stripe.
Exactly the same as the V1.
It's a little plastic piece with the stripe, and you can swap it to not have the stripe.
So stupid.
I'm sure there's other updates that a Corsair rep would be happy to explain to us.
No.
Anyway, though, that's all for my kind of news segments for today. So let's move on to
the next segment.
The ever-popular segments known as Sword Fight, where Kyle and I take opposing sides of a controversial topic and argue it, and you guys get to vote, and then we just figure out who wins.
Great.
It's great.
This is going to be so
it's a wonderful thing.
Educated.
I only have one question here, and this is a little throwback to what we talked about earlier in the show, which was the Razer and things going missing from their booth. Hold on, I'm trying to.
I don't like how you're logged in as me.
Well, you logged in as you over here. That's
you
your
should
fault.
log out. You
I
should
can't-
log out
I
as
wanna
me,
log
so I
out.
don't want you to log in, post links like you're me. People be like, that ain't how Kyle posts links. He puts little
It's a copy paste. It's the
happy
exact
faces
same
at the end of all of
normal
his
thing.
links. It's not the same touch. You know?
Okay. All right.
Oh.
Let's argue about this.
Okay.
What do you say? Who stole the Razer Project Valerie prototypes? This has been a burning question on the mind of the media and I'm zooming on the wrong thing, and elsewhere, and we need to figure it out. We need to figure it out right now. What are you doing?
Thank.
And we need to bring the criminal to justice. So of course we have lots of the usual suspects here.
Usual Suspects.
Me,
Great movie.
Kyle.
Me.
And Kyle working together. We got Linus, Jay, Austin,
It takes two.
Dimitri and Eber, our kind of nemesis, as a two-person tech YouTube team.
Hate those
like
guys.
Dimitri and Eber. It's
They're
like
evil.
we're constantly at odds with them.
Dark.
Thermal Take, of course, or Razer.
Dun dun dun.
Kyle added that part as some kind of a sickened publicity stunt. So Kyle, what do you think here? Who are you going to blame? Where does the trail of clues lead you?
Whew.
You know
You know what?
from your deductions
Oh, boy.
and your investigations.
This is hard, man. This is tough. I'm gonna say.
I mean, we know quite a few people had hands-on time with it. Right?
That's true.
It was lots of people with images,
I'm
pictures.
gonna say it's Austin Evans.
Austin Evans.
Yeah, I'm going with Austin because Austin has that kind of like nice country boy look to him, where he's like, I'd never heard of a housefly. I'd invite him. I don't know. He sounds like Forrest Gump for all of a sudden. But
This is Austin has this.
Jenny. But
His
basically, Austin is like, you would never expect him to steal something so valued from a company. But he just has this unsuspecting aura to him where it kind of makes him like a ninja. Like, you would never, all right, he's never going to be a suspect in any kind of crime scene investigation. So it's perfect. I think he became self-aware at that point at CES. It was like, no one would ever think I did it because I'm super nice and friendly to everyone. So if I take this right now, it's like no one would ever suspect me. So clearly Austin did it. He went in there with his camera crew. Was like, all right, make some distractions while I go ahead and pack up the Razer Blade or pack up the Project Valerie. And then he just ran off with it in his backpack because he's also got lots of muscles, and he was
I was
able
gonna
to
say he's got the mad gains.
He's got the mad gains recently. He works out. That guy works out.
It's like, I need to be able to transport a beefy laptop
packed on
with ease.
Yeah, exactly. And
To be able to walk comfortably while anyone looking at him would be like,
Yes.
clearly he is not transporting a substantial piece of hardware.
of course. And the other thing is that
People don't say that about me.
no, of course. And why would they? Austin deals with mobile tech all the time.
Yeah.
So for someone to see Austin carrying a triple display 4K laptop, it's just they don't bat an eye. You know what I mean? They're like, oh, this must be the new thing Austin Evans is reviewing. I can't wait to see it on his channel. And then they see you and I, no, those are desktop guys. They hate laptops. There's no way in hell that they would actually be carrying one of those unless they were A, forced to do it, with a bullet to their head, or gun to their head, or they were stealing it from Razer's booth and they were just trying to make mad profit off of it, which is totally true. There's no other reason why we would have a laptop of that caliber in our possession. So it just makes sense that Austin Evans is your guy. He's your guy.
Clearly he lusts after high-end technology.
He does. He
However,
has a problem. It's a very serious problem.
However,
It's bad. Intervention.
I'm afraid that despite your greatest efforts at deduction and everything, you're wrong, Kyle. I'm sorry. Because there's only one man
capable
of pulling off a heist of this magnitude. Only one!
Oh?
With both the knowledge
I think I know who you're going to...
of computer hardware, the motivation due to his constant desire for speed.
He's going the distance. He's going for speed.
And only one man who basically has
She's all
he's
alone.
achieved so much. He's like that like the rich guy in like what's
everyone in chat?
what movie is it?
Rich guy, Italian.
Like the Thomas Crown Affair, right?
Crown Affair.
It's like the super rich, wealthy, whatever guy. You know, he's got everything. He does everything, whatever he wants.
Great Gatsby.
But then he goes and he has to steal things because he's like bored. Like he needs something else to do.
He uses it for sport.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
I see lots of you saying Linus. No,
Oh.
Jay.
No.
Absolutely, Jay.
No.
Now I say this. I don't say this slightly. I don't just go around throwing these accusations around for no reason at all. But look at the evidence that's before you. I mean, I've already laid out a very convincing case. I'll assume that you're all convinced. But let's take it a few steps further if we don't mind.
No, I might.
Jay had accomplices on hand, both the cameraman
Yes.
as well as Nick.
Yeah, Nick, that he's.
And Nick, if anyone knows how to pull off a high caliber heist, you know, with like there were probably ropes on the ceiling with dropping down and like people of the intercoms and like don't talk too loud and all of those things like that, right? It's all fitting together. All the puzzle pieces fall into place. Obviously, there can be nobody else but Jay. And
I think you're wrong though.
he has a YouTube channel, so I think he wants to make a video out of it. That's really what it comes down to. No.
Jay's the kind of guy who's just like, you will give me one of these. The company's just like, of course we will.
Well, and yet see that would also explain how they have no idea who the hell took it. Like they have to put up this reward. Like obviously whoever like grabbed this thing and snuck out the back door of the convention center or whatever. Obviously they were sneaky as fuck, right?
Right, of course.
Like nobody saw, nobody knew anything. So they were able to walk. And who else is more ninja, like silent and cat-like, as they move through
Jay.
through the night? Jay, he's known for that.
That's why he's been working out and like getting all buff and stuff, is so he can like be thin and like hide behind walls and be sneaky. He's super ninja.
You're saying Jay was fat?
No, I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying now he's like extra thin. You know,
that's true. He is. He's
making me look fat.
You're right.
Making me feel bad about myself.
Actually, he makes all of us look bad now.
Jeez.
All right. I've laid out my argument. Let's see what you guys think.
All right.
Who stole? And obviously, the police will be arriving at this person's house momentarily. Let's see what the results are. Linus. Oh
wow.
my God. He wouldn't have stolen it though. He would have just broken it. He would have destroyed it. Maybe
he would have dropped it.
Maybe he stole it because they wouldn't allow him to break it there.
True.
Like, right?
He would have.
So he's like, I need to steal this so I can take it home and throw it down and break it.
Right.
Yeah.
He would charge Razer to give it back to them. As part of a incentive program.
He's known to do that sort of thing. Wow. Well, I'm happy. I'm happy to know that you and I are very low.
But us as a team, though, placed like fourth place.
Apparently, our powers combined greatly increases our chances of doing something nefarious,
being evil,
which is fairly accurate.
Yeah.
Thermal Take coming in third, though. Still no trust there. No trust there. Or Razer.
But a landslide between Laser and Linus, or Laser. I said Laser.
No,
and
Linus had more than double the votes, so nobody trusts Linus. Everyone is like, Linus is clearly.
Well, I mean, did you see the picture of him? There's clearly evidence that he stole it.
Yeah, well, he's there with it.
You saw it, right?
There, I mean, in a video
somewhere.
Nobody else did that.
Yeah, this picture. You saw that, right?
No, I did not see that. Where's that? Who's that?
It's Tony.
I'm gonna pull that up. I want to show people.
Call my Twitter.
No, hold on. Oh, did you retweet it?
I can retweet it right now. You want me to?
Wait, I found it on. Here.
I about died when I saw that. Is that the guy?
Oh, that's Detroit Borg. I did not know that was. What?
No, that's not who it is.
When I searched, that's.
What no, it's KULL 14.
Yeah.
Really?
That's weird.
Go on. No?
This is all old.
Not there? Tony?
Oh, there it is.
Yeah,
That's
there it is.
because it was a reply to you.
Right, yeah.
There's that's, at first glance, it's like obviously he wouldn't bother to
retract
it or
the panels.
close it up or anything. But yeah, here it is. There's
This caught red-handed.
Indisputable photographic evidence right there that Linus just took off with Project Valerie. All right.
Linus for scale. That's how you know how big Project Valerie is, because it was an actually accurate.
PC Perspective gave me a big old shout out on one of their stories. That's awesome.
That's nice.
I love those guys.
Fuck them.
Except for Kyle. He hates them.
I love them.
All right, guys, it's the end of the show, which means we're gonna do some Q&A. So if you guys have some questions for us, please post those in chat, and we'll try to answer them. In the meantime, let's get ahead of the game and run down our donations.
Woo woo woo!
Because I did see a few come through.
Holy shit.
All right, we have a $5 donation from Patrick Horgan. He says, have you seen any new Z270 motherboards with 3 or more M.2 connections or slots?
Z170 or 270?
Z270. Did
Yes.
I say 170?
Yes, Z270. Yes, I have seen plenty of motherboards that have triple M.2 slots. MSI, for one. The MSI Gaming M7 is a great contender. It's got plenty of good features on it. It's got an M.2 shield on the middle slot between the two X16 lanes there, the X16 slots. But it's also got one on top, above the top slot, and one on the bottom. So you could even raid those together. However, you'd be pushing the threshold of bandwidth that M.2 is actually able to push.
Not M.2.
M.2 NVMe, sorry.
Not NVMe.
PCIe, sorry.
Not PCIe.
Say that.
The chipset.
The chipset.
The Z270
well,
chipset.
The chipset handles the lanes, though, doesn't it? For
the Z270 chipset. So here's what it comes down to. There's more support for M.2 on Z270, and you can address more devices. However, there is a limitation with the high-speed I/O itself, because the high-speed I/O comes off of the processor. It's dedicated PCIe lanes for high-speed I/O, but they're basically on a switch. They say you have 20 lanes, and they've actually updated it to 24 lanes with Kaby Lake and Z270, but it's still essentially like 4 lanes with a switch. And I'm not sure if it's 8 lanes with a switch on Kaby Lake Z270 or not. But that means that the maximum throughput that you have is still effectively 4 lanes, which means even with a board like this, if you take 3 really fast M.2 drives that can do 2,000 to 3,000 megabytes per second reads and stuff,
limited to 4 lanes.
You're still only going to hit 2,200 to 2,400 megabytes per second.
So what's really the point then?
It can even bottleneck some NVMe drives, believe it or not.
To be even slower than what they would be alone.
If you just had it connected directly via standard PCIe.
So this
lanes.
is strictly just a marketing thing then, that motherboard manufacturers are touting. We have triple RAID 0 M.2 support when the actual chipset doesn't even really allow that to benefit the user.
Yes. I mean, the idea that you can RAID them together would be mainly for convenience and not for speed. If you really want to RAID up a bunch of M.2 drives, you need to put them in dedicated PCIe slots on a motherboard with Ryzer cards. And then you can get 6,000 to 8,000 megabytes per second if you're RAIDing 3 drives together or something like that.
It's not very convenient though if you're tripling the risk of a drive failure and not even potentially even bottlenecking your speeds.
Yeah, it makes less sense.
Yeah.
Something like RAID 1 though, I mean,
oh yeah,
that's nice if you have a really fast drive and you want to work off of it or something like that, but you also want to easily be able to drop storage on there and not have to make a backup or something.
They should be pushing that.
There's a convenience level there, but don't convince yourself that you're going to be able to take 3 M.2 drives and drop them on a Z270 board and suddenly get 6,000 megabytes per second reads and writes.
Right.
Is not going to happen.
Gotcha.
Okay. Thank you, Patrick, by the way, and that's a good question. $20 from Leon Korsav. To the Baby Oil Show. Paul, you gave me the cold shoulder a few weeks ago. I did?
Damn, Paul.
I'm sorry, but now instead of leaving your
nasty.
wife for me, we should just touch naughty bits together. No insertion. Well, that's okay. I mean, if there's no insertion, then it really doesn't count.
Zero insertion force after all.
Yeah, that's also relative.
That's how I build computers. It's the way I make love too.
Yeah. But thank you, Leon. We will contribute that. We'll add to the baby oil pool, as it were.
A pool of baby oil. That's what Paul means by that.
It grows larger every day.
We're filling it up constantly.
Okay. $10 from Thievy Chow.
Thievy Chow!
I usually donate during both halves, but I missed the first half because I didn't get good, so I don't know if I didn't get good. So be nice and split the $10 donation, you two. Love you guys. Love the videos. Have some beers on me. Thank you very much. And we will.
Thank you.
Except I'm not giving Kyle half the donation.
He's a greedy motherfucker.
I know. Maybe if we get food, maybe then.
Buy me sushi.
Oh. Really?
Yes.
Because it's really like I just got a text.
We have time. It's not even 8 yet. I think the sushi place by your house is open till like 9 or 10 at least.
Yeah, it's up until later.
Ooh, let's do it. Oh, I'm already getting like flashbacks to CES, like when we went to that all-you-can-eat sushi place and I ate 35 pieces of sushi.
Oh my god, I'm so hungry now.
I know.
Okay,
let's get sushi.
All right,
sushi night.
$5 from Chris Hare. I built my first PC today based on Paul's July build.
Woo!
I've learned so much from both of you and just want to say thank you. You're welcome, Chris, and I am glad.
You're the man.
I am so glad.
You.
All the way back to my July build, then that's cool.
You. That's a
You're the best.
diehard fan right there.
Oh yeah, and that was just moments ago. That was just moments ago. All right. See if any other questions popped up. Do you think AMD will offer Ryzen SKUs with SMT disabled? I don't know. SMT is simultaneous multi-threading, which is the generic term for hyper-threading.
Right.
Hyper-threading is Intel's branded version of it. SMT is just what it is. I don't know. I feel like they like to kind of flout Intel to some degree, which I think is why they're saying all of our CPUs are unlocked, which I agree. I like that they do that. I've liked that they do that for a while.
Sure.
I wish it had more. With the last generation of products, I wish it had more of an effect, like it was more compelling.
Yeah.
But I think that's cool that they're doing that with this generation as well. And I wouldn't be surprised if they said, nope, everything has SMT. Just because we have it, we'd have to turn it off.
Everything's already unlocked anyway.
Yeah, to create a product that didn't have it.
Right.
But you never know. I mean, I would be less confident about that than about like the overclocking thing. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they all had it, honestly. But anyway.
AMD's very generous with their features.
Yeah.
Unlike Intel.
Let's throw it out there.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's not a question, but this is from Anwar Nair Escobar. I think the best of CES is Paul doing photobombs in almost every YouTube channel that I see.
Pretty much.
I don't know how I managed.
Infamously good at doing that this year.
Mostly it was Linus, but we kept running into...
And me.
And you. Yeah, I guess that's true.
Like 90% of my videos
but
have
you and I were
in some
going
form.
around together, and I was just trying to be enthusiastic and help you out.
No, I know, yeah.
I mean, not help you. I mean, I was like, here, Kyle, I'm going to bless your video with my presence. Right? I mean, like... But yeah, I mean, you could have jumped into my videos too. Cool.
I was filming myself, and you needed me to film, so I was behind your camera the whole time.
We did get your thumb in there a few times.
Yeah, my thumb was there. I was there in spirit, thumb spirit.
Baseball Gear 7 says, wasn't Acer doing a revision of the X34 Predator? I did see a couple larger size ultra wides
37.5
at the show.
I saw 37.5 from Asus
has a 37.5 inch, which is 3840 by 1600, which is like the 4K width.
Yeah.
And
extra height.
2.5K height, but a little bit higher than than.
Someone told me what the ratio was on that. The aspect ratio was like 21.6 by 9.
It's weird.
Or 26 by 10.
It's still like an ultra wide, but just a little bit taller, which I think was cool. And that was a cool panel. I think that was an LG panel that they were basing that on. LG's like kind of they're doing pretty well with their panel production. And then there is a new Acer as well. but I looked at it and the specs didn't really, I think it was still 3440 by 1440, but just like a couple inches bigger or something, maybe 37 inches.
Yeah.
Something like that. I'm sorry we don't have that info up, but probably there's a CES article on it somewhere. I didn't go by Acer this year. We didn't have a chance for that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
All
right.
For sure.
Wait, here's one more question.
Uno más.
Sleepy Scene asks, currently speccing a build in a defined Nano S. Do you think case manufacturers will release front panel upgrades featuring USB Type-C?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Do you think Fractal will?
I hope Fractal will. I know...
I don't see them doing that simply because I haven't seen them do that before.
Right.
I've seen some manufacturers that have...
It's different now.
Like...
We have front panel headers now, though. That's the big difference. We never had that before.
But I mean, I think he's talking about like the front I/O up here, like a swappable panel there that will give you a USB Type-C port instead of Type-A.
Swappable? What do you mean?
Or like
swappable?
you an upgrade. Like they'd send you a piece. You input it. You put it on your system.
I don't see that happening as
Yeah.
much. I think it's honestly cheaper for case manufacturers to just make a new case that has USB Type-C on the front.
Yeah. So
That's probably what we're going to be seeing.
probably not, but depends on your case manufacturer. There's some higher end case manufacturers where I could see it happening, or cases specifically where they're offering like a modular system. So this is actually somewhere where I think Cooler Master's Master Case series would actually be a standout. Because that's something that they have sold for a while, is like these cases that are based on a system that have panels, so you can buy a little panel and put it in here, there, whatever. So I think that's a potential. Or like just keep an eye and make sure you have like a front 3.5 inch or 5 1/4 inch bay, and then they're like guaranteed there'll be like drop-in bay upgrades or whatever that you can add in there and give yourself some Type-C.
Yeah, but I think this is the year that we start to see new cases with completely fresh designs rocking USB Type-C on the front.
Yeah.
Which is...
It's an exciting time to be alive. All right, well, guys, I think that is going to wrap it up for the show. Wait. We have one last thing to do, which is some Johnson shout-outs, so let's check that out. Oh, my gosh.
Kevin,
I have a bunch.
You.
People must have felt bad for me because I had 0 on your half of the show.
I know. I have a few here.
Right, you
Kevin,
go first.
thank you very much. Oh, boy. Kevin, shout out Eric Johnson for picking up a CPU cooler shirt and a Stay Positive shirt as well. We've also got John V for picking up a pint glass. Thank you for picking up a Words in the Circle pint glass. I appreciate that, John.
Nice.
Kevin picking up a CPU cooler hoodie. You were one of very few to actually get that hoodie, as well as an overclocking mug. Thank you very much, sir. What else we got here? Who's next? Alfred, I'm going to call you Alfredo, for picking up a Words in the Circle pint glass and a BIOS flasher shirt in heavy metal gray. Thank you very much, sir. We both got Alston. Alston. Alston.
You get a double Johnson.
Double Johnson.
Pick
up a BIOS flasher shirt.
And a thumbscrew shirt.
We got Brandon.
I'm pretty sure I have some doubles, but it's hard for me to remember.
BIOS flasher shirt, as well as a CPU cooler hoodie.
Hey.
That is, CPU cooler is my most sold shirt, so it makes sense that the hoodies are going as well. That makes sense. Jacob. Holy crap.
Wow, that's a large order.
You picked up 3 hoodies and 2 shirts. My man.
Jacob gets a big fat double Johnson because he also got a pub glass, Zero Insertion Force shirt, as well as the Tri-Blend shirt.
Damn, Jason.
Those Tri-Blends
Jason.
those are good shirts.
Pay your bills, Jason. And then we got Miguel. Miguel with a BIOS flasher shirt. Woo! Yeah. You boy, get it.
All right, are you done yet?
Done.
Okay, good lord. All right, I have a few to follow up.
Fans.
We already said Jacob. Yes, Jacob got a double Johnson from us already. Miguel. Did you say Miguel?
I did. Double Johnson.
Miguel gets double Johnson.
Double Johnson.
Thank you, Miguel, from California. Much obliged. Adam. Good old Adam from Ohio. Thank you so much. He got a thumbscrew decal. The decal. Alston, we already said thank you to Alston. Let's say thank you again, Alston. Alfred B.
Alfred, that's Double Johnson.
Alfred gets a Double Johnson as well.
Alfred Double Johnson
from New England.
Woo!
Wait, sorry, that's Nebraska.
I love you, Alfred.
Right? Nebraska.
Did you say New England?
Shut up. It's late. Thank you, Alfred.
New England, United States?
Yes, exactly. Steven also gets a Johnson for getting the decal, as well as the main logo t-shirt. Hooray. And Ryan and Johnson for getting the Zero Insertion Force shirt.
Ryan.
Thanks so much, Ryan.
Carl.
And, of course, Joshua, who I believe we started off with the Double Johnson as well. Excellent.
Yeah. Should we host anyone for...
You guys are all great people.
Should we host anyone on Twitch?
Thank you for the $1 from Baseball Gear 7. And we're glad we answered your question.
Do not kiss me.
And I'm not going to kiss Kyle.
Do not do that.
Well, I don't know. We'll see. Did Cell put a
Sal who shall be
He did. All right, guys. If you're watching live on Twitch, or hey, if you're on YouTube as well, we're gonna do set up a little raid here. So if you're watching, everyone go and raid Alex Zedra. That's ALEX_ZEDRA on Twitch. Twitch.tv/Alex_Zedra. ZEDRA. Everyone go there and say awesome hardware sent you.
I'm about to do it.
And
tell them we sent you.
Yeah.
Tell them we sent you.
And enjoy the rest of your evening, guys. No after party tonight. Kyle's
Chilling.
really busy. I wanted to do it, but he's like, no, I'm just kidding. But yeah, no after party tonight, but we're going to start again next week.
Yep.
We're both super busy.
All right.
All right.
See you guys. We love you.
Bye, everybody.
We love you. Take care. Good night. And see you next time.
This is a thumbs up button.
Thumbs up. All right.